Hey guys, it's time for Down to the Wire on the Vegas Insider Network presented by BetMGM. I'm your host today, Joe Madden, and we've got a great show. Happy Friday, by the way, you guys. We will be welcoming in first Kevin Thomas of Vegas Insider, followed by Cab of Pub Night Sports. It's going to be a lot of fun. I want you guys to stay tuned. We're going to jump right into my best bet of the show. I've got two of them for you today. The first one, we're going to look at the matchup between Nebraska and Rutgers. Now, this is college football kicking off tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. Rutgers, the home dog in this one. And I'm telling you guys, you got to ride with me with Rutgers plus the points in this. I think Nebraska probably will be up in that first half, but I think Rutgers has every opportunity to bounce back from what we've seen out of them in the last 2 weeks. I think they're going to have a strong game here. They're going to control that clock, keep Nebraska off the field. And we all know how Nebraska has done this season. This team is struggling to constantly get the wins. I think Rutgers makes things right here. Grab them plus the 3 points, sprinkle on that money line. We look at Nebraska against that spread. They've gone 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 games overall. Can't trust them here. If you want to take them, I only suggest taking them the first half, but Rutgers for the full game. You guys go over and shop those lines over at BetMGM. Make sure you get the best value. We're getting it at minus 110 there. Let's bring in Kevin Thomas to the show. We're going to talk some football. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. How's your day going so far?
Well, if you're a fan of baseball, 6-3 Phillies win. I couldn't be any happier. It was a tough one to stomach there. Zach Wheeler pitched one hell of a game, and then Alvarado came in and gave up the 2 runs, and I thought it was over. But boy, we got the reverse of the curse. 'Cause that's usually us that gives up all those runs in the eighth, ninth inning. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be a Phillies fan. I'm excited for wild card weekend. It's a great time to be a fan of baseball.
How deep can the Phillies go here, Kevin?
I I I think they can win here, and I thought it was going to be the Mets. It could be the Padres. They if their bats come alive like they can make it. They can get to the Dodgers, but yeah, I don't see anyone beating the Dodgers. They're just too stacked.
It would be nice to see someone beat the Dodgers here. I know the Toronto game is going on right now. How's that looking? You still got it on, I'm sure.
It was 4-0. So sorry about that. It was 4-0, fifth inning going into sixth. So keep my eye on that too because I have a play on that game as well.
And
I
those
do like
dogs
the
barked
over.
at the right time
Yes.
with the Seattle Mariners up 4-0 over the Toronto Blue Jays. They knew their cue. Let's jump into some football for tonight, Kevin. Before we do, though, can you let me know what you have for sale over on the Vegas Insider app?
Oh yeah, over at Vegas Insider, you can get my ACC game of the month tonight. I mean, it's a huge matchup between Memphis and Houston, two veteran quarterbacks that have been, in the system for a couple years now, and it's going to be a show. I'm excited for that game. That's one I'll definitely tune in for, and one that I really like a lot. That's why it's a game of the month.
Okay, that's great.
I think I did lock in college for tomorrow already, and I'm actually gonna probably give it out free here, and then Sunday we'll start piling in tonight with some more college football. I like to let those lines simmer out a little bit.
Absolutely. Are you ever grabbing the lines early when you see the value in it, Kevin?
I do, but then I don't. I mean, for my personal, yeah, I'm jumping on them, but then putting picks up, if you put them up too early and those lines move, I don't want to give a customer a bad pick, because then you get the emails, hey, how
Absolutely.
come I'm getting it at 5, and you have it written. Well, I don't write in what it is, but if I see something and I think it's going to move, I'll wait a little bit closer. And I think you get the best line because there's so many games Saturday. I tend to look at the under the radar games, a home game, some team you're not really looking at. Those lines don't seem to move as much. They're pretty much locked in for like 4 days. It's the big games with all the money pouring in, like your Ohio State and Michigan. Those teams,
Yeah.
they're the ones where you'll get a little bit like right at the time where it jumps, and then you kind of look bad if you give out a line too early, in my opinion. But
Absolutely. I like the way that you're looking at things with that. Let's talk some football. We have the Miami Dolphins taking on the New York Jets. This is Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Now, Miami's coming in only as a 3-point favorite. We know Tua is out. Teddy Bridgewater is starting here. Means the Jets, 3-point dog here at home. We've got a total of 45.5. Kevin, what are you thinking in this one?
Yeah, I was back and forth on this with Teddy in there, but I look at the Jets. I mean, that was a come from behind win against the Steelers, but Steelers are they really that good this year? No. And then you look at the two Jets home games so far. They've got beat up pretty bad at home. Miami's not going to come in there and lay down because they're out their quarterback. I mean, they still got two of the fastest wide receivers in the league. And I know the Jets have a nice little pass rush going on, which might give Teddy Bridgewater some trouble. But Wilson on the other side, he had a great second half against the Steelers. Is he a great quarterback? I'm not sold on that yet. He does have good weapons there, but the Miami Dolphins have a decent defense. It's not as good as a lot of people thought it was going to be, but they're 4-1 for a reason. And the Bengals game might have went if Tua didn't get hurt, it could have went either way. I know it was a short week, so I think Miami wants to get over the Tua stuff because they did him wrong and the NFL took notice. So I think they're going to come out, put that behind them, and they're going to play a great game here. So I'm going to take the Dolphins and lay to 3. I think the worst you get is a push here, but there's no way the Jets are going to win this game. No way.
Kevin, I know we've heard Tyreek Hill is questionable for this game. If it's ruled that he is out for this game, are you still going to lay the 3 points with Miami?
Well, I think it went up to 3.5 in some spots, and then it was that 3.5, 3. Yeah, I don't think I saw he practiced today in limited fashion, so Tyreek's going to play, and even if he isn't 100%, if he's on the field, it makes defenses have to double and then put the other free safety will cover Waddle, which is a mismatch nightmare. And then they got a tight end in Gillespie who's pretty much a wide receiver in himself. So they're just a lot of speed and a lot of talent. I just don't think the Jets have enough to cover all them. And but another thing is, I mean, you look at the Jets, the Texans, and Jacksonville. Those teams are doing really good this season, better than most expected. But they've been stockpiling first round draft picks now for the past couple of years. They should be doing really good. I just think Miami has too much talent. They went after Tyreek. They went all in this year. They have no run game, so it's going to be can the Jets stop the pass? And looking at the scores of the Jets games so far, they're not stopping the pass.
Yeah, not stopping the pass, and this team does struggle to string together wins. We know they're 1-6 against that spread, also following a straight up win in their last 7. So hard to think that they're going to come in here against one of the teams that is one of the best in the league, even with Teddy Bridgewater here stepping in for Tua. So it's going to be an interesting game. Again, you guys, that game kicks off at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. Let's look at the game over in London, Kevin. We have the Giants taking on the Packers. Now, I'm hearing this is Aaron Rodgers' first time ever playing in London. They're laying 8 points here. It's a total of 41.5, a low total. What are you liking?
I'm loving the Giants. I'm loving the Giants, and I'm a huge Packers fan. But after that Patriots game, the Patriots were on their third string quarterback. I mean, Hoya was their second stringer, and he got first series he's done. I thought it was going to be a blowout, and they just ran the ball. And everybody in that stadium, everyone at Lambeau Field knew they were going to run the ball. Everyone home watching knew they were going to run the ball, and the Packers couldn't stop it. They averaged like 4.8 yards a carry. They ran for 167 yards with two running backs. That's now they're going against Shaquan Barkley. I mean, the guy's a stud. They know he's going to run it. I mean, are they going to stack the box? I don't know. I'm not sold on the Packers defense. I was so high on the Packers defense, and then you got Zaire Alexander. We don't even know if he's going to play in that Patriots game. I'm not 100% sure if he's going to play here. Uh, I'm liking the points and probably a lean on that under. It is Aaron Rodgers' first time in London, so I'm sure he can get some hallucinogens over there because apparently he likes to do those. So he might be a little too relaxed for this game. And the Giants' defense, they're no joke. They're going to get after him. and they actually are number one against the pass, and the Packers haven't been able to pass the ball. So it's going to be a lot closer than people think. I hate to say it, but I mean, these are two of the worst 3-1 teams out there, and it could be an upset, especially if Barkley's running the ball well. I don't know if Packers have any answers for that run game. So the dogs are barking on that one. Take the Giants plus the 8 points.
I
And
love it.
That's a Packers fan here, the biggest Packer fan in the world. So
If you would have told me starting the season that the Giants would have done so well, I wouldn't have believed you coming out of the gate. They've just played phenomenally. And you're right. Saquon Barkley has looked incredible from that very first game against the Titans. He looked better than Derrick Henry. Would you look at his props in this one or anyone else's props?
I would take all his props. Whatever prop he has, I would take it. I mean, I don't even, were the Giants even thinking about not even signing him this year or paying him or whatever? So
Yeah.
he's all out this year, and they upgraded an offensive line, so he looks really good. I'm happy for him, Penn State kid. So a local kid actually. I think he's from about 45 miles from my house where he grew up. So I'm happy for him, and I know it's my Packers and stuff, but I would take every prop that there is out there. I haven't looked at those props yet. I was actually looking more at the quarterback props and looking like at Joe Burrow's, Lamar Jackson, those kind of props right now, because when quarterbacks that are tend to go a little heavy, I like to watch when they face each other, look at their props, especially divisional ones.
Yeah, now I have to ask you because we're talking about Aaron Rodgers. Do you think he's getting fed up with the team this year? He's really showing some struggles out there on the field. You think this could be his last season, Kevin?
I think as soon as he took that money, he was checking out because he knew, he was made no secret. He knew Devontae Adams was moving on. And when you see him over there on the sideline, he just looks like he doesn't even want to be there. I mean, I'll say this: I'm not a Tom Brady fan, but I respect him. He's talking to the offensive linemen. He's with the receivers. He's coaching them up, and most of his receivers are veterans. Aaron Rodgers got two rookies in Dobbs and Watson, and Watson drops that what would be touchdown, dropped another one or missed another one maybe, but Aaron Rodgers just looks like deflated, not like, going over there talking to him, and that bothers me. All that money, go over there, coach that kid up. Let's win some games. Let's get the receivers going, because it'll just make more for the running game. LaFleur wants to run the ball, and they might be able to run the ball against the Giants, but it's not going to be that an 8-point game. There's no way.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a ton of points for the Green Bay Packers to come out and cover. Let's talk some college ball. We have Purdue taking on Maryland this weekend on Saturday, October 8th. You guys, this is a 12 p.m. Eastern game. Now, Maryland coming in here as the favorite home, and we have a total that has dropped down to the high 50s. What are you liking in this one, Kevin?
I'm a big fan of Big Ten, and I'm a fan of these two quarterbacks. I mean, I'm going to butcher his name, but I'm going to say Tulia Tagovailoa, Tua's younger brother.
You nailed
This kid,
it.
1,400 yards, 8 TDs, 4 interceptions, and right across the field from O'Connell, almost 1,200 yards, 8 TDs, and 4 interceptions as well. I mean, you can't get a better pairing right here. And Big Ten is mostly known for defense and running the ball in my life of watching it. Not too many great quarterbacks come out of it per se, but this is going to be a great matchup. And I think Purdue's getting a little overlooked here. I know that total went from 3.5 to 3 with the sharp money going on Purdue. I think the public are riding Maryland. I mean, they just hammered Michigan State, but hell, everyone's been hammering Michigan State. I'm not sure Michigan State, they gave that big contract to their coach, and man, he goes out to Washington, and since then it's a free fall. Maryland did play Michigan pretty tough there, but this quarterback, he's a little bit better than Michigan's. And look at Purdue, their losses: Penn State week 1, so that was a tough one. But to go on the road against Minnesota and beat Minnesota, who was undefeated at the time in Big Ten action, I think Purdue could pull the upset here. So I'm willing to take the points. I mean, if I could find that hook, I'm all over it. Big money, but if I can get the 3, I'm still going to bet this one.
Yeah, I like the way you're going with this, especially when we look at both of these teams in conference games. We have Purdue coming in 5-2 against the spread in their last 7 conference games, and Maryland just not able to get it done against that spread, 3-10 in their last 13. So I think Purdue plus those points, and you said sprinkle on the money line.
No, if I get the 3.5, I'll bet more, but I'm not going to bet that line up. I think 3 is enough. I mean, I watched Purdue go to New York, and Syracuse, in my opinion, is probably one of the best teams under the radar, and that defense is scary good. And Purdue hung with them, and that's on the road. Maryland don't have that. Maryland has a decent defense, but it ain't as good as Syracuse. On the other side, Purdue probably has the better defense in this matchup, so I would definitely take Purdue plus 3, but if I got 3.5, I would triple my bet without a doubt.
Awesome. Well, Kevin, I want to thank you so much for joining me here on Down to the Wire. It was a pleasure to have you. Now, if people are looking for your picks, they can find you over at Vegas Insider, but where can people find you on socials?
Over at Twitter at Kevin Thomas 04. And hey, make sure you're checking out the props. Last month, I killed it in the NFL props. I love doing props. I love being on Vegas Insider because they are probably one of the best at putting out the props, and they give a ton of options. So make sure to go there. It matches up with all the sites a lot of people use if you can't get to the casino, to a real sports book. I've been having a lot of success over there. I just put one up today, so make sure you go over and check those out too. I mean, even with guys doing good in football, those props, they're also great ways to sprinkle on some parlays, to make those bets a little better. A lot of people don't like to bet 3 games, but you bet 2 props in a game, you can make a lot of money. And the props seem to be sometimes a little bit easier when you get the right matchups.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Matt Ryan killed me the other night going over on his passing yardage. I thought
You
that
should
would
have
stay
known
under.
no running. You should have known no running game. That was easy money.
I didn't think he was going to get anything done, Kevin. I have
No,
no
he's
faith
been
in.
throwing. He's been throwing like 250, 300. I mean, he's throwing picks and throwing bad, but he's throwing a
Yeah,
lot of yards because the Colts are just that. I don't. They're just not that good right now. That's
the
the
Colts
offensive
are.
line.
Yeah, they are completely struggling. At least I had their team total under 20.5. So that broke even on that game. But man, hoping next Thursday we have a better game.
I have the Chargers defense in my fantasy, and they're killing me. What is going on? Just because Bosa's out, they're done? I don't get it. What's happening?
Yeah, this Chargers team is completely struggling, Kevin.
Ah,
If you guys want to know something, I'm taking their team total under this coming week. This weekend against the Browns. It's not going to be a pretty game for the Chargers. They're not as healthy as they need to be.
and they can't stop the run to save their lives. They're in
They-
trouble. But Herbert will have a big game though, because he's gonna have to pass a lot. And even if it's to Eckler, it's still a pass is a pass. So I look
Definitely.
at that prop too.
Yeah, that's a definitely great way to go with that, especially with Slater out, who used to cover his blind side. That ball is going to go to Eckler nice and fast. Okay, Kevin, again, wonderful having you here. Thanks for joining me on Down to the Wire.
Thanks for having me. Good luck.
Thank you. Okay, guys, that was Kevin Thomas. If you're looking for his best bets, make sure you go over to vegasinsider.com and you can find them there. But before we move on to our next guest, I want to tell you about our friends from BetMGM. Kick off the new pro football season with the king of sportsbooks. Sign up with BetMGM using bonus code VIBONUS, and your first wager is risk-free up to $1,000. That's VI bonus, all one word, no spaces, and your first wager is risk-free up to $1,000. Visit betmgm.com for terms and conditions. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Okay, guys, we are going to welcome in Cab now. Cab, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going, Joe?
It's going good. Thank you for being here. First time on. It's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to be here. I love an opportunity to talk college football and playoff baseball. I can't miss that.
Absolutely. College football has been incredible so far this season, and we're into playoff baseball, like you said. What are you thinking of the wild card games so far today?
Luis Castillo, I mean, he was worth every penny Mariners spent on him. He looks almost untouchable. I mean, I know he's given up a few hits today, but man, he's 100 miles an hour with run, 86-mile-an-hour slider off the plate. His stuff is electric. He's very, very good. He was worth every penny, like I said.
Yeah, he absolutely was. Do you have any bets going in this game right now?
Yeah, I'm on the Blue Jays team total, which it's not looking good. Like I said, I don't think they're going to get any runs here, but it's okay. I have another plus money spot that I'm on later tonight, and it's only the first playoff game I bet, so we got a lot of playoff baseball ahead.
Well, I'm on the over in that one, so hopefully Seattle can come out and get the rest of those runs needed in it. Let's look at the San Diego Padres taking on the New York Mets tonight. Now, we've got the Mets coming in here as the favorite at home. We've got a total that's low at 6. What are you liking in this one?
Okay, so look, I know that the common thing is going to be a hop on a Scherzer and the Mets here, and I get it. It makes sense. Maybe even full game, it makes sense. But Darvish this year, when I've bet him, and I track everything I do, I've gone 14-4 when I've bet Darvish in the first 5 this year. It's been very profitable for me. His last 7 starts, 6-1 with a 2.15 ERA and a .83 WHIP. That's just incredible. That whip, he's not walking people. He's in the strike zone consistently. He's got a 3.10 ERA on the season and a opponent batting average of only 207. That goes into having such a low whip, which is under 1 for the season also. Darvish, a few times when I've been on him in the first 5, even in the 6th inning, he's blown up, but that doesn't matter. I don't care about the 6th inning because I'm taking the plus money at plus 130 in the first 5, or actually I think it's plus 135 now, but I got it at plus 130 first 5 with the Padres. Like I said, I don't necessarily think they win this game, but I think as far as Darvish goes against the Mets, I think he's going to have a good start, and I think the first 5 at plus money is it's a beautiful thing with Darvish. So that's what I have on that one.
I like where you're going with this. And just because I know I've had you on several shows before where you've been on this first 5 with him, I know that record that you're spitting out is completely true. You guys, if you can get on this, head on over to BetMGM. Get this before this game kicks off. It's at 8:07 Eastern tonight coming up here. Let's talk some college football. We have a Tennessee taking on LSU. Now, LSU, the home dog in this one. Total is climbing. I'm getting 64.5. What are you liking here in this matchup?
Okay, so I like Tennessee a lot here. I like the fact that it's going to be an early game also, so they're not having to go too late into LSU and play. It's a 11 a.m. Central kickoff, 12 Eastern. Hendon Hooker, he's got a 71.7 completion rating, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He's been amazing this year. He's going to be a Heisman candidate, in my opinion. Much deserving of it. Also, on the flip side, Jaden Daniels, he's been good. But LSU's offense has not shown up against better teams, okay? And when I talk about better teams, I'm talking about Florida State and Auburn, who are not great teams. Florida State and Auburn are good teams at best, but they're not great teams by any means. And LSU struggled to put up points against them. I don't necessarily think that Tennessee's defense is great, but I do see LSU absolutely struggling to keep up with the amount of points and the pressure that Tennessee is going to put on this LSU defense. I know LSU's defense is good, but again, Hooker had 349 yards passing last week, 112 yards rushing against a pretty good Florida defense. Regardless of how you feel about Florida as a whole, their defense is all right. I think he's able to get to this LSU team, and I think Tennessee at -3 is a very good bet and good money. So I've been on that since the beginning of the week.
Now, you're not the first person that I've heard say this game is early. Tennessee should be okay. What is it like in LSU then at night that so many people say this?
Look, it's going to be electric regardless. Okay. That stadium's going to be rocking no matter what, but it's, in a college town where you got, 100,000 people, when you give them 8, 9, 10 hours to get drunk before the game, it makes it a little bit more intense and a little louder. And that's just the honest truth. If I'm being serious, I mean, the alcohol plays a part in it. It's got to, right? Because the stadiums under the lights, it's a different thing. It's just it's a different animal. So, I'm not saying that the stadium it'll be rocking, but it's not the same as it is at night.
Now, any thoughts on this total? If it's gone too high, it's at 64.5 now. We see strong trends to that under in the last 4 meetings, 3 of them going under and 1 pushing right on that number. With the hook here, we wouldn't get the push, but is it just too high?
I personally wouldn't bet it at this point. For me, one of the things it's hard because sometimes there's things I really want to bet, but college football lines, they'll move a lot, a whole bunch. You got people betting them one way and then betting them the other way. And I do not chase points. So if I could have got a better line at one time and I don't get that line, I will not bet it for the simple fact of I'm not losing a bet because of the fact that I missed the line. I just can't. It's happened too many times. I've learned the hard way, so I don't do it. So if I don't chase lines. So I think it could still, yeah, like I said, I'm not even gonna say it because I'm not betting it. So I don't chase lines.
Okay, that's great to hear. Let's move on to another game. 7:30 Eastern on Saturday. We have South Carolina taking on Kentucky. Now the Gamecocks, the dog on the road here, 6.5 points. And we've got a lower total in this one. It's moved from 48.5 down to 46.5. We know strong trends to the favorite here. Can Kentucky come out and cover 6.5 points?
So talking about not chasing points, this is a exact opposite situation. There's a question over whether or not Will Levis will play. And because of that question mark, the 10.5 has gone down to 6.5 or 6 in some places, depending on where you're looking. So you got a 6 here hanging with Kentucky now. Kentucky, I think, will play Levis this weekend. This is an important game for them. They probably should have won against Ole Miss last weekend. Anybody who watched that game, they had control of it, and they just, driving down to the red zone and not being able to put the ball in the end zone, that'll kill any team. And that's what they were doing. But with Levis being a game time decision, it's not a serious injury. It's a tweaked ankle and foot. It's not a head injury. I'm not going to go down that conversation right now, but it's an ankle and foot. I think he's going to do what he needs to do to get in the game and play. And if he's in the game, I think we're getting a buy low opportunity with -6 at Kentucky. So I'm all over the -6. I wasn't on him at 10.5, but because of the fact that I think Levis will play the game, and I think this is a buy low opportunity, I'm all over Kentucky. Rattler is terrible. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what his stats were coming into college. He's again thrown more interceptions than he's got touchdowns right now. He's scared to run the ball, even though he is a dual threat. He doesn't run the ball like he should. And with Rodriguez back in the backfield for Kentucky, I think they're going to be able to start running the ball, which is something they haven't been able to do, even with their weak offensive line. South Carolina, that team's not it. So -6 with Kentucky at home at night, I'm all over that.
Okay, guys, if you like Kentucky as well, BetMGM does have that at 6. There's 6.5s out there, so you want to get it at that number of 6. Cab, any updates on the baseball game right now? Do you have that game on? I'm jonesing to see what
I do. It's still 4-0. Seattle does have a runner on first base with 1 out, so like you said, maybe you can get your runs from Seattle. Toronto's not. They're not getting me the 4 runs that I need. I know that, but maybe you can get them from Seattle here. So 4-0 though, right now in the top of the 8th inning.
What the heck is Toronto doing out there? What are your hopes for Toronto if they can they get past Seattle here?
In these 3-game series, game 1 is huge.
Yeah.
It's massive. And now they're going to be, Robbie Ray's a great pitcher too. So Toronto's put themselves in a bad situation. The thing is, Toronto just doesn't have the pitching really to go against some of these other teams, especially Seattle. I was relying on their bats if I thought they had a chance. And their bats have done nothing today. So we'll see. I don't think so though.
Okay, Cap, I have to ask you, as an ex-player, when you get down that first game, it's such a short series. What does that do mentally?
This is selfish, but I was a pitcher, so I didn't really give a damn because if we could be down in a series or up in a series when it was my game, all I was focused on was that game that I was starting. It really didn't matter to me if we were up or down in the series because that was my game. And as a pitcher, you mentally prepare for your game if you're a starter. Not to sound selfish, but I wouldn't give a shit. I'd still be focused on tomorrow. It would be the same routine for me, the same preparation either way.
Okay.
As a hitter, it might be more difficult.
I'm glad to hear that. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us today on Down to the Wire. If people are looking for you, where and when can they find you?
Pub Sports Radio. Right now we're on Pub Culture TV, our sister channel, but we'll be back on Pub Sports Radio soon. You can find me and really just check out anything going on Pub Sports Radio. A lot of great content. Tonight I'll have a live betting show, which you're more than welcome to hop on anytime you want. We'll be watching the Houston and Memphis game, but of course I'm going to have the Padres and Mets on also. So we'll be on there doing a little bit of live betting during the game with the chat, which is a lot of fun. But Pub Sports Radio.
Awesome. We'll have a wonderful night, Cav. And again, thank you so much for joining me here on Down to the Wire.
Thank you, Joe. Later.
Thank you. Okay, you guys, if you love what we have going on here on the show, you're really going to love our brand new app on the Vegas Insider app. You can download it on all of your Apple, Google, you know where. We've got up-to-date, easy to navigate odds in every major sport. We have all our latest shows, best bet videos, and podcasts, props, trends, futures, news, all for free on the Vegas Insider app. Download the Vegas Insider app right now on Apple and Android. Bet better with the Vegas Insider app. You guys, I tell you, when I have to talk about stuff that's not sports, sometimes it doesn't come out right. So thank you for bearing with me there. We are going to move on to my second best bet of the night. We're going to look at the matchup between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. Now, this is interesting. It is at 8:20 Eastern on Sunday. This is the primetime game. Now, the Bengals coming in here as the dog. And I tell you, I'm not going to take a side in this one. We've got a total that has dropped down to 47.5, and I have to hit it over. I think we have an old-fashioned shootout style game in this one. We're actually it's gone back up to 48.5. There's been so much movement on this line, you guys. It opened at 48.5, went down to that 47.5, now back up to 48. But I think we still easily go over in this one. We know both these quarterbacks are phenomenal here. We got Joe Burrows coming out. He has thrown for 1,099 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. We've really seen his offensive line step up. They're going to give him that time in the pocket. And now Lamar Jackson on the other side of the ball. He is absolutely incredible so far this season, you guys. I think he rivals for MVP this year. He's already got 11 touchdowns on the books, and he's thrown for 893 yards. We know he can scramble outside of that pocket when Cincinnati rushes at him. So we're going to have a great game. Give me the over all day long. I would even take this still over if it gets up to 50. I think we've got a big day for both of these teams in this matchup. So give me the over 48. And you know what? The last time we saw these teams come out, since he won last year, 41-21. It was such a high-scoring game. I could see it being as high-scoring, but not as lopsided in this game. So you guys, it is time for our handicapper heat check presented by VegasInsider.com, your home for the best expert picks in the business since 1997. Today, we're recognizing a Kyle Hunter, who can be found on Twitter at Kyle Hunter Picks. Kyle is a Vegas Insider's college football money leader with a record of 15-2. You guys didn't hear me wrong. He's 15-2 his last 3 Saturdays and is 24-7, which is 77% overall this season. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, save $10 on Kyle's Saturday college football picks by clicking the link in the description below. That $10 discount will be applied during the checkout. And if you're listening to this on the podcast version, just head on over to Vegas Insider Expert Picks page to take advantage of Kyle's hot streak, or click on his promo on the Vegas Insider homepage. That's your handicapper heat check. Stay hot, bettors. Okay, you guys, so my 2 bets for today were Rutgers plus the points and the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens over. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me here on Down to the Wire. I also want to thank my guests, Kevin Thomas and Cab, and I also want to thank the producer for doing such a great job and bearing with me today. Recap, you guys, have a great night. Thank you so much for joining me. It was an absolute pleasure to be here on Down to the Wire on the Vegas Insider Network, presented by BetMGM. Have a great day. Enjoy your Friday. Keep smiling, and let's make some freaking money this weekend.